All right, so this one says, which equation shows the function g in factored form? So the nice thing about it saying factored form is that we know we have to factor it. So what I'm going to have to do is I got to factor g of x. So right off the bat, I noticed that 2 and 6 and 56 are even numbers. That means they're all divisible by 2. So I'm going to factor out a 2, and that leaves me with x squared. How do I know that? Because 2 times x squared gives me my 2x squared. The next thing I'm going to do is put down negative 3x. Why? Because 2 times 3x, or negative 3x, gives me a negative 6x. All right, this next number is going to be a little bit harder. How many times does 2 go into 56? Oh, man, that's hard. That's a big number. I don't know if I could do that one. I think it's 28, but we'll double check. So that little device you got in front of you is a calculator. We could say 56 divided by 2. Well, bam, with the bacon sizzle, it's 28. Whoops. It's got to be a negative 28, right? Okay. All right, so now I've got to factor this stuff. So remember, this part right here looks like ax squared plus bx plus c. Now this 2, we're just going to leave this in the front for a while, okay? But remember, in other words, a is equal to 1, b is equal to negative 3, and c is equal to negative 28, right? So what I'm saying is in front of this x is an imaginary 1, that's my a term. In front of this is my b term, which is negative 3, right? b equals negative 3. And then this is the c term, the constant. Okay? So to factor this, I'm going to use the AC method. So I need 2 terms that when I add them up, it equals b, which is negative 3. But also, when I multiply them, it equals a times c, which 1 times negative 28 is just negative 28. So I think it's negative 7 and positive 4, because that equals negative 3, and then negative 7 times 4 equals negative 28. Oops, ran out of room. Back up. I have to write it real tiny. Okay. So I'm going to split this up, because that's really the sum of negative 7x plus 4x. That's why we're doing all that work. Okay. Everything else just gets dropped down. Then this is just the process for factoring this. I suppose we could have just guessed and checked, but I want to practice this with you guys. Now on the next line, I look at x squared and 7x. What do both those terms have in common? An x. So I can factor out an x, okay? So now to factor out that x times x gives me my x squared, right? And then x times negative 7 gives me 7x. So what I'm trying to do here is here's an x, here's an x. So if I factor out 1x, I have to multiply x times x to get my x squared. I have to multiply x times negative 7x to get negative 7x. Whew. Now, if I did everything right, over here, I should get negative x minus 7 over here. Well, if I factor out a 4, which I could do, right? They don't have x's. In other words, 28 doesn't have an x, but they're both divisible by 4. What is 4 times x? 4x. What is 4 times negative 7? Negative 28. These two are in common, okay? Those two are in common. So what I'm going to do now with that line, we can't forget this stuff either. So now I'm going to say 2 times x minus 7, because I'm factoring that out. And what's that leave me with? X plus 4. Oops, what's going on? Tablet is going on its own. Okay. So now which answer looks like that? D sort of looks like that, but it's what's different? Huh? Yeah, like these two are flip-flopped, right? Let me ask you something. What's 2 times 3? Huh? 6? She says it quietly. What's 3 times 2? 6. So does it matter that they're flip-flopped? No. So D is the correct answer. Okay. I'll leave that up there for you guys to finish writing it.